And it did kind of like get more people to take this seriously and put us on this new trajectory, and that's really important too. But as an artifact, I don't think we're going to look back at that and say that was a threshold that really changed the world itself.
Recent AI-driven research has uncovered something astonishing, evidence of a pre-Babel civilization that may have spoken a single universal language. By analyzing ancient texts, forgotten inscriptions, and linguistic patterns, OpenAI's deep learning models have identified striking consistencies across civilizations once thought to be entirely disconnected. Buried in these findings are records hinting at an advanced culture that existed before the Great Linguistic Divide described in the story of Babel. Some of these texts, previously undecipherable, now appear to reference a time when humanity communicated effortlessly, sharing ideas across vast regions without barriers. Even more shocking, some fragments suggest this civilization possessed knowledge that rivaled or even surpassed what was known in later ages. But why was this universal tongue lost? And could the fall of this civilization explain ancient myths of sudden societal collapse? If this discovery is correct, it doesn't just challenge our understanding of history, it forces us to ask whether humanity has lost something crucial along the way. And perhaps, whether we are on the verge of repeating the same mistake. But before we dive into what OpenAI found, we want to hear from you. Do you think the Tower of Babel was real or just a myth? Drop your thoughts in the comments because, in just a moment, we're about to reveal something that will leave you speechless. The Tower of Babel is one of the most mysterious stories in ancient history. According to the biblical account, humanity once spoke a single language and worked together to build a massive tower that could reach the heavens. But before they could complete it, a sudden and catastrophic event shattered their unity. Their language was divided, confusion spread, and they were scattered across the earth. For centuries, scholars and historians have debated whether this story was a metaphor or a real event. Could it have been an allegory about human ambition? Or was it describing something far more literal? Surprisingly, ancient texts from various cultures hint at a similar event. References to a lost universal language, a sudden separation of civilizations, and even warnings about the dangers of knowledge being misused. And now, OpenAI's latest analysis of these texts is revealing patterns that could change everything. But what OpenAI discovered next is even crazier. For decades, archaeologists and linguists have struggled to decode the origins of ancient languages. But artificial intelligence is changing the game. OpenAI's deep learning models have been trained on thousands of ancient texts, cross-referencing patterns that human researchers might have overlooked. By feeding AI historical inscriptions, religious manuscripts, and linguistic structures from civilizations spanning thousands of years, researchers have begun uncovering something astonishing. A hidden linguistic pattern that suggests all human languages may have stemmed from a single lost language. This discovery aligns eerily with the Tower of Babel story, which describes a time when humanity spoke as one before that unity was abruptly shattered. But here's where things get even more shocking. When OpenAI applied its latest models to untranslated ancient scripts, it found fragments of messages that appeared to document the moment of separation itself. Were these records written by people who actually witnessed the event? And if so, what exactly did they see? If you're fascinated by discoveries like this, make sure to subscribe. We bring you the latest breakthroughs every week. And when OpenAI analyzed texts related to the Tower of Babel, it found something shocking. As OpenAI continued its analysis, something even more astonishing emerged, evidence suggesting that the people who built the Tower of Babel might have belonged to an advanced civilization that predates recorded history. Researchers discovered linguistic traces and structural similarities between ancient languages that shouldn't have any connection, pointing to the possibility of a shared origin. But that's not all. Some ancient texts, when processed through AI translation models, mention a time before the Great Division. A time when humanity possessed not just a universal language but also advanced knowledge, technology, and architectural understanding far beyond what was previously believed possible for that era. Could this mean that the builders of Babel had insights into engineering, astronomy, or even mathematics that were later lost? Strangely, these findings align with archaeological discoveries from sites like Göbekli Tepe, and other megalithic structures, which challenge conventional timelines of human civilization. If these scattered ancient cultures were once united, what happened to them? And more importantly, why was their knowledge erased? But this is where it gets even more unbelievable. The Tower of Babel isn't the only ancient structure that raises questions about humanity's past. Across the world, massive architectural feats defy conventional explanations. The Great Pyramid of Giza, the ziggurats of Mesopotamia, and the mysterious ruins of Göbekli Tepe all share something in common: advanced engineering that shouldn't have been possible for their time. Some researchers now believe that the builders of Babel weren't just constructing a tower but were part of a global civilization that shared knowledge across vast distances. OpenAI's research has uncovered strange correlations between ancient texts describing the Tower of Babel and blueprints of other ancient structures, suggesting that a common architectural code may have existed, one that was lost when humanity's languages were divided. If this is true, it could mean that Babel wasn't just a symbolic tale of human overreach but a historical turning point. One where something, or someone, intervened to separate and weaken human civilization. Do you think these ancient civilizations were connected? Drop a comment below before we reveal the next discovery. And by the way, if you enjoy unraveling ancient mysteries, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We have even more shocking discoveries coming. If the Tower of Babel story is more than just a myth, then the event that fractured human language may have also fractured something even greater: our ability to communicate knowledge itself. OpenAI's AI-driven analysis of ancient texts suggests that the so-called confusion of tongues wasn't just about speech. It may have disrupted a shared system of advanced understanding. Some researchers now speculate that before this division, early civilizations may have possessed a unified method of recording and transmitting information. Perhaps through symbols, mathematics, or even an early form of written language that has since been lost. Strangely, traces of this idea appear in different ancient cultures. The Mayans, Sumerians, and Egyptians all describe a time when knowledge was scattered or hidden. And their most advanced writings seem to suddenly appear rather than gradually evolve. If OpenAI's findings are correct, then something happened that caused not just the loss of a universal language but possibly the collapse of a shared scientific system. But here's where things get even stranger. Because this wasn't the only anomaly OpenAI found. As OpenAI researchers dug deeper, they found something even more unsettling: evidence that the sudden fragmentation of human language coincided with a mysterious drop in technological progress across multiple, ancient civilizations. Before the supposed event of Babel, early societies seemed to have made rapid advancements in architecture, agriculture, and even astronomy. But immediately after, records suggest a period of stagnation, where knowledge was lost and cultures had to rebuild from scratch. Could it be that the division of language wasn't just an accident but a deliberate act to suppress knowledge? Some ancient texts even hint at a time when humans were cut off from the wisdom of the past. As if something, or someone, ensured that our progress would be reset. If this is true, then who or what was behind it? And why would they want to stop humanity from reaching its full potential? The next piece of evidence might hold the key to answering that very question.